Good morning, it's Monday, April 22nd, 2024, 9 a.m. This is the Muscatine County Board of Supervisors. I'd like to call the meeting to order. First item on the agenda is to review the agenda.
Move to approve as presented.
Second.
I have a motion by Scott, second by Nathan. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carries. Item 3 are items with Planning and Zoning Administrator Eric Furness. Eric, you have a few items for us this morning?
Yeah, couple.
Item A is discussion and possible action to approve resolution 04-22-2401, approval of combined preliminary and final plat of Country Farm subdivision.
So this is just a one-lot subdivision. All the property remains zoned agricultural. It was required because of previous splits in the quarter section. The property owners are just splitting off the house from the rest of the farm ground to be able to sell the house. So a pretty typical one-lot ag subdivision. It was unanimously approved by the zoning commission, and there was no objections from any neighbors or anything like that. So again, everything remains zoned agricultural, so it's subject to the land use restrictions of that zoning district, doesn't allow any other houses. Proposed lot meets the lot area, size, frontage, and width requirement of the A1 district, so my recommendation is for approval.
Sounds good. I'll move approval.
I'll second.
I have a motion by Nathan, a second by Danny. This is a roll call vote. Scott?
Aye.
Nathan?
Aye.
I vote aye. Danny?
Aye.
Motion carries. Item B is a discussion and possible action to set a public hearing for May 13th, 2024 at 9 a.m. on a request to rezone approximately 8.1 acres in the southwest quarter section in Sweetland Township from A1 Ag to R1 residential.
Yep, so the zoning commission held a public hearing on this and did recommend approval of the rezoning, so we need you folks to set the public hearing for your review of the request, and that's all we're doing this morning, is just setting the public hearing date.
I know this vaguely where this is, but what's the,
So
how do we look at it on map?
this is up in the area of Sweetland trailer sales, that corner there of Sweetland Road and Highway 61, 170th
Okay.
area.
This is the one where they're recommending go to a residence in the middle of a fairly substantial commercial area.
Well, that's the purported reason for the request, and I don't want to get into too much discussion details outside of a public hearing, but
Yeah.
correct, it's to
There's
zone it.
about 50, around 50 acres in that kind of triangle-shaped piece, and 39% of it's already commercial.
Got it.
Okay,
But yeah, I'll be
so
setting.
this will be set in the public hearing, which we'll
date.
have a discussion of this.
You'll have my development report
The
findings.
board will be able to hear, we'll be able to ask.
Absolutely, normal
Ask our
process.
questions about it.
Yep.
Okay.
I'll second.
I have a motion by Danny and a second by Nathan. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same? Motion carries. Item C is discussion and possible action to approve 10 upcoming special event permits for Arden Creek Vineyard and Winery as requested by Chad Furlong, manager and owner. I'm not gonna read the rest of that,
Yep.
but we've done this every
So
year.
this was part of their special use permit approval when we adopted regulations for native wineries and cider mills in the county. They continue to operate as just a wonderful asset. One of their conditions was to submit a list of activities or events, an event schedule if they had on-site consumption or attendance of more than 35 persons. So they're required to do that yearly with their schedule of those types of events, and that's what this is. So we are in receipt of that, so we know when the bigger events are coming. I don't think we've had really any issues, maybe an occasional, they're usually even handle the parking.
I think the
well.
sheriff has not indicated there've been any issues. They've done a
great,
nice job.
They've been very willing to work with us on any
Very good.
concerns, and it's been a good thing.
I'll move.
I have a motion by Nathan, second by Scott. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same? Motion carries. Anything else, Eric?
A little later on the agenda.
Will Morgan notify them that these have been approved?
Yeah,
Or do you want- okay.
we'll let Arden Creek know. Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, items with the county engineer, Brian Horowski. Brian, discussion of possible action to approve resolution 04-22-2402, accepting a bid and awarding a contract for project FMC 0706955570 PCC overlay on Moscow Road
Yes.
from 155th to F70.
Good morning. Here's bid tabs. This project was let at the DOT. As you can tell by the big bold red print, it is confidential until it's awarded.
Thank you.
So this was let at the Iowa DOT. This project's utilizing farm to market dollars. On the second page there, it shows all the bids. The top bid there is Manats. We were very pleased with the number we got. We recommend to award.
And they're a contractor we're quite familiar with and have always done good work for us.
It's been a number of years since I worked with them, but they did do some work in this county prior to me coming. Sounded like it was a very, very good project. They did Independence, Hampton, and 250th. So I don't know what years that would have been. Probably like 2011, 2012, somewhere in
Yes, long time ago.
there. Yeah.
Time flies.
All right, so I would accept the
Look at
motion.
me. Also moved.
We have a motion by Nathan,
I'll second.
second by Danny to award the contract to Manats Inc.
So one thing I did also want to point out is that, as you can see there's 7 bids. That's pretty typical when we do concrete paving. It's a pretty competitive market out there.
Yeah.
So, very happy to see that many bids. So,
Excellent.
Okay, this is a roll call vote. Scott?
Aye.
Nathan?
Aye.
I vote aye. And Danny?
All right.
Motion carries.
Do we need to destroy these since there's obviously folks who aren't awarded?
No,
If there's 7 bids?
No.
now that it's awarded,
It is
it's
awarded, so now it is
it's not confidential.
Bingo.
correct.
Okay, item 4B is discussion and possible action to approve the purchase of one 2025 motor grader. Ryan, I don't like the price.
It's going up.
Oh, that's like double what I remembered us paying for them. Close, isn't it?
Probably 10 years ago. Yeah. I mean, this one, this
I think
one.
the last one I remember we traded for, I know, we had it used and traded for like 250.
Yeah.
And at 120, so we'd have been about 375 in value, and this one's 440.
You know, I didn't look up what we paid for the most recent one. I believe this one went up roughly, I want to say like $15,000.
Sounds about right.
The most recent one before this, those experienced a very significant increase in price. I think it was like just shy of 20%. So it's slowed down quite a bit, the increase. One thing I want to note there too is that at the bottom you see the potential trades. So that $90,000 is the guaranteed buyback. So when we purchase a unit, it comes with a guaranteed buyback if you sell it back within so much time. That has fluctuated over the years. This 90,000 is one of the lowest ones. We just the 2 most recent ones that we traded in were also 90,000, and we weren't very pleased with that. So we went back to CAT. We also reached out to private equipment sales representatives, and Caterpillar came back with a much better price. I think it was about 135,000.
Yeah.
So, as you can see, the 90,000, that's just our guaranteed. I'm pretty hopeful that we'll get a pretty substantial, larger number. Caterpillar's just unwilling to give us a solid number right now because this is a year out. So,
Yeah, I kind of was thinking we were in 125, 130 on our last buyback, so.
yeah.
That'd be more, still not. Okay,
I'll move.
so I have a motion by Danny,
I'll second.
second by Scott. Any further discussion? And our fleet's in fairly good shape still.
Yes. Yep. So, after this one, I think we'll actually probably take a year off from purchasing motor graders. I mean, this one's in my FY25 budget. So, I mean, when stuff takes a year to 17 months to get, you got to kind of think ahead. But we'll probably take a break from purchasing motor graders and look at some other items, either an end loader, excavator, something like that that doesn't come around very often in our purchasing cycle.
Okay. All right, so I have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, the same. Motion carries. Item C is utility permits.
All right. We have 2 utility permits today. The first is Muscatine Power and Water of Muscatine, Iowa. MP&W is requesting to bore along the back of the right-of-way on Sweetland Road from New Era Road south to House 1940 Sweetland Road. This is to connect an existing fiber route. Would you like me to do the other one's from WTC? Would you like me to do that one as well?
Sure.
The next is from WTC Communications, Inc. of Wilton, Iowa. I need to make sure I get all this right. They have a very large fiber build-out going on. WTC is requesting to install fiber optic cable in the Moscow area. They are requesting to install the cable on portions of the following roads: 100th Street, 102nd Street, 110th Street, 112th Street, 120th Street, 122nd Street, 130th Street, 131st Street, 132nd Street, 140th Street, 150th Street, 155th Street, Moscow Road, Ocean Ave, North Isaac Ave, Story Ave, Taylor Ave, Thayer Ave, Sweetland Road, Trail Ave, and Underwood. Obviously, there's a lot of roads listed off there. They're not going down the entire portions of the road, but they are, like I said, somewhat building out in the Moscow area.
Is this all underground, or are they doing a combination?
Yes, all underground.
Just about everything north of 61.
Yeah. Between,
Yeah, I think this was,
Mulberry and
did,
Black
with the ARPA grant, they walked away from the money on the ARPA that WTC
West
did?
Liberty?
This is WTC,
Wilton.
Wilton
I thought they
Telephone.
did.
I think they did.
They
didn't.
did, they walked away.
Because they had other grant opportunities
Yep.
that, so I'm sure this is part of that state broadband initiative helping fund these.
All right.
Okay, so I would look for a motion for the,
I'd move to approve.
Second.
motion by Scott, a second by Nathan. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same? Motion carries. Anything else, Brian?
Nope, I did not have another today. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Item number 5 is discussion and possible action to approve the minutes of the April 15th, 2024 regular meeting and the April 17th, 2024 special meeting.
So moved.
I have a motion by Scott,
Second.
second by Danny. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same? Motion carries. Correspondence. Scott, did you have anything to note?
I didn't have anything to note for correspondence.
Nathan?
I do not.
I had nothing. Danny?
Nothing.
Okay, how about committee reports? Danny, did you have any committee reports?
I did not.
Okay, I had on the 15th, I had the Eastern Iowa Mental Health Region Governing Board meeting. There was quite a bit of discussion about the potential. I just got this weekend notification that the governor did sign the bill. So we are gonna see pretty significant changes in the governance and operation. They're combining mental health and disability services and aging, and it's all becoming part of the Health and Human Services. Still really up in the air. Last we knew, there were gonna be 7 of these designated regions, and ours was pretty much gonna stay the same, so I think it would be more status quo for us. But now they're talk of 5 and maybe 3. So I don't know where that's all gonna land, and we'll see, but it looks like, if that happens, the code is a little unclear. It says there will be 3 elected officials on the governing board of this unit, which if you think there's at least 5 counties, it'll be more than that probably. So that, and it'll just says an elected official. It does not necessarily a board of supervisor member. So we'll see where this is all gonna go out. And the big thing is they're creating these, I'll mess it up, I think it's called an ASO.
ASO, yep.
This ASO, and, you know, we've had discussion in the eastern Iowa region whether we would, if eastern Iowa region would, the mental health region would be an ASO, because it's someone that pays the bills and there's administrative, like a 6% or 7% administrative cap. I think I made the comment is, if we are not a governing board region, why would we ever consider even being an ASO? I say, you know, it just evident that the state wants to take it all. I'm fine with that, let them have it. So, that was that meeting, and then, obviously, we had the one on the 17th that everybody attended. Nathan?
Not in meetings last week.
Scott?
On Monday the 15th, I had Conservation Board, and on Wednesday the 17th, Riverbend Transit, and that's all I had.
Okay, item 8 is items with the administration office. 8A is discussion possible action to appoint Douglas Conklin to the Muscatine County Historic Preservation Commission to fill a vacancy for a term entering 1/1/26.
I will gladly move to approve. I know Doug is a good guy.
Motion by Nathan.
I'll second.
I have a second by Danny. Any further discussion? Does that fill that
No, we
position
still
yet?
have one vacancy, which they requested an app from me. It was for another gentleman, and that the gender balance law is changing, but it doesn't go into effect until July 1st. So we may need to wait till July 1st to make that appointment.
I'm sorry, we have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same? Motion carries. Yeah, I did note, yeah, I saw that as well, that the gender balance requirement on boards and commissions, the legislature has struck that from the law. So as of July, we won't have to seek gender balance on all of our boards and commissions. That hasn't typically been that big a problem for us. has it?
There, certain boards and commissions, that has been a difficulty. And I think we've missed out at the chance for good candidates simply because, the way the law is right now, you have to look for 90 days before you can appoint the predominant gender, and sometimes people lose interest
Yeah.
with that waiting period, so.
Okay. Item B is action to accept April 2024 payroll claims.
Move to approve.
I have a motion by Scott,
Second.
second by Nathan. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same? Motion carries. Item C is discussion and decision regarding authorizing a $7,500 change order discretionary dollar limit for Planning and Zoning Administrator Eric Furness, serving as the owner rep for the jail mechanical penthouse access panel project, the jail exterior insulated panels project, and the courthouse clock tower roof and gutter repair project. Did I see some of their trucks in town last week on the roof?
That's what I thought I saw.
The roof and gutter guys?
Yeah.
They came and did the final walk all over the roof, the final measurements. So Oscar and I met with them, and kind of looked at some potential staging areas, access points. So we hope to be hearing for them. Last week we approved the material samples that they sent down, and in the next couple weeks we should be getting our pre-construction meeting scheduled. So we'll be inviting the clerk of court to that, because there'll be a lot of moving parts. But yeah, they're gearing up to get started here hopefully
Good.
in the next month.
Okay, sorry, that was a little off topic, but,
But yes, every year, Renaissance.
and then so when, have you done your pre-con on the jail mechanical and penthouse and that?
Oscar's mainly heading up the mechanical penthouse one. I'm not sure where that's at. It's pretty small and contained. He's got that well in hand. We have not had a pre-construction meeting on the insulated panel yet, but I met with Matt McCleary last week as well, and we're talking about staging area and logistics and that. So we're gonna try to get that all worked out ahead of time, so we're ready to go with pre-con after this.
Okay, good. All right, so I don't have a problem with the, I mean, Eric would be fully aware of our budgets on these, and if ever became a budget issue, I'm sure he would, communicate with Board or the Nancy or whomever, and, sometimes on these change orders that come up, or these small items, you can cost yourself more money delaying for a meeting, versus getting it done.
Well, and to be clear, this would only be used in those instances where waiting until the following Monday would cost significant additional money or delays to the project, and then we would still, at the earliest convenience, bring the change order that I approved to you for affirmation and records for auditing purposes. It would just be, if there's those cases where we can't delay because it's cost us more time and money, otherwise, we have a formal change order process that we would utilize.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll move approval then.
I have a motion by Nathan,
I'll second.
second by Scott. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same? Is Mike involved in those as well?
Oh,
He's still doing the construction management agreement. I don't recall, we had him on both all those projects, correct? Yeah. I mean, I think that's worked very well in our last number of projects. We haven't had, my history going back 10, 15 years ago, seemed like projects, we always had issues. And with Eric involved as the owner's rep and Mike involved in the construction management, we seem to be, it's helped a lot. Okay, item D is discussion of possible action to reassign the accounts payable and payroll functions for Muscatine County to the administration office. So we want to have that discussion. So as everybody knows, that there's been we've had some issues with staffing in Tybie's office, in the auditor's office. And one of the things, we really don't have, for a lack of a better term, an accountant or accounting group, and this is the highly technical area with lots of pieces. And so in the discussion about the position and the staffing there with Tybee, we kind of talked about, would it make more sense to move it down into administration under Kayla and Nancy's direction, who are really the budget watchers and the accounting group in there. Now, I think Jim reviewed code and what happens, so Tybee still has to review the checks and sign the checks as the auditor and all that, but this is another check. I don't think from a controls issue we'll have a problem.
No,
I think-
actually, that's a
I think
good
it's
thing.
another segregation of duties that'll help us, I think, so, so this would move that position and into the administration, and then assign those duties and that work as well. And then you'll see later, we have another conversation about the position in the auditor's office.
I'd make a motion.
Okay, a motion by Scott,
I'll second.
second by Danny. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carries. Action E is action to authorize the addition of a payroll accounts payable administrator position, grade 10, to the administration office.
I'll make a motion there.
I have a motion by Scott,
Second?
I have a second by Nathan. Any further discussion?
This just opens up Nancy allowed to hire that person
Yeah.
to take care of
Right,
these.
And currently, you're kind of midstream on, we've posted, we have applicants. Tybee was going through
Tybee's
the
done
list.
some
and
initial interviews.
She said
and
it
so
doesn't
I-
really make sense for her to hire somebody if it makes sense to move it down, so Nancy will kind of get involved and they'll work through that. Okay, so I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same? Okay, so then the next action eliminates that position from the auditor's office.
I'll move.
I have a motion by Danny,
I'll second.
second by Scott. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same, motion carries. Item G is action to authorize the addition of a real estate / elections clerk position, grade 8, to the auditor's office. So this is, we've had a number of discussions, and I know a few of us have been talking with Tybee as we look more through this real estate, process in county government, I think, quite frankly, there's a lot of work to be done there. I know Jim has been involved and talked about some processes, but at this point, you know, to keep the process going, I think we're gonna have to add staffing up there to keep the office functional and keep that moving. Long-term, we'll see where it goes. I think there's a lot of opportunity there. I think we're gonna have to get our legislators involved in a few things. But I think that would be a good opportunity. I have some questions about code sections for Jim, cause I can't find them and I wanna know what they are. I don't know what the, you know, there's some things in the recorder's office where it says they shall do this, but it says based on all the codes, required codes, and I'm like, well, what are the codes? So where are they? And I don't, we're, you know, questioning, when things get recorded and what our obligation are. Because it appears that incomplete recordings or incomplete information or wrong information is driving a tremendous amount of work with staff, and how do we change that process? We can add people all day long, but if you don't fix the process, you'll never get it right, so.
Is this position to replace the one that we have leaving, or is this an additional, this just to replace?
This is to add a position in the office that would be designated for this. I think the current position, you have Kathy's leaving, who fills a lot of this role.
Yes.
But this is really to change the expectations of what that job is, because Kathy is your first deputy?
She's second
Second deputy.
till her resignation's complete, but yeah, she currently does the transfer book, so that's the real estate duties. And then she also is first with elections with me. So this does just replace that. It's still this, it won't be a deputy position. So it's not an addition like was asked before. This is just filling a chair and designating the duties that's specific to our office and what's needed.
And I think that it's graded per the job duties, and it's not a deputy position.
Yeah.
So that, you know, there's the net cost, yeah, there's an additional cost of the staff, but I think we have budget dollars in there, to make this move.
Oh, yeah.
So with the payroll change to administration and this position, you think you'll be in a lot better spot to hopefully?
It'll free up time, so hopefully, we intend to, obviously, to focus more on
Okay.
real estate.
And I think there are other discussions, you know, there's a lot of work, and I think this will be a discussion we'll have maybe with Bill as well, because I don't know, you know, we'd authorized a position well over a year ago, for help with our IT stuff, and that hasn't been even advertised to my knowledge, and so the auditor's office has picked up some duties as a result of that in the elections, which doesn't make sense to me. I think they should be working on election integrity, not setting up computers. And so we need to have that conversation with Bill, and if it's a staffing issue, we just need to get going on the staffing, so.
Yeah, and the other thing I do wanna make sure and note is that this is gonna be a transition. It's not like, okay, starting today, we're doing payroll and accounts payable. I've gotta get somebody hired, she's gotta get somebody hired.
Okay.
There's gonna be quite a bit of training that needs to be done. I mean, some of it we can do training with the software company, but the specifics about how Muscatine County does it is gonna take a lot of time from the person currently doing it in Tybee's office to get this transferred over. So, we'll see some additional, part-time election help, because of that. So I just wanna make sure that you're aware of that when you see that. That's one of the reasons she may need additional help, is because one of the people she was planning on, we're gonna be using to get our person trained at least part of that time.
And I'm glad to see, not that we don't do this always, but I think we have an appreciation for the dynamism of things. And as times change, as roles and responsibilities change, we gotta be willing to be flexible as an organization. So I think I'm very, very encouraged by all the discussion and updates that are taking place.
Yes, thank you.
So, do we have a motion yet?
I don't have a motion yet.
Then I will make one.
I have a motion by Nathan,
And I'll second one.
I have a second by Scott. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carries. Nancy, did you have anything else?
I
for
do
us?
not.
Item 9 is to receive information from county employees. Any county employees wish to address the board? Bill?
I'm sorry, I think our name was thrown around up there a little bit.
Yep.
What's going on?
Well, the question was on the position that we'd authorized that you'd hired and we haven't done anything and, you know, some of the work in the auditor's office with elections and computer setup and, you know, should that be more appropriately handled by the IT group and transition there? And I just don't know where you're at with that position, and that's the question.
Position, still
Yeah.
waiting on salary corrections.
Have we advertised anything?
No, I'm not gonna advertise until we have a new salary scale for them.
And is that waiting on the salary study?
Yes.
Were we gonna hear about that this month?
Hopefully on the 29th of April, you're gonna get the report from them.
Alright, well, good deal.
But we haven't advertised even. With,
No, because
what's our
right-
current scale?
Tops at about 55, I think, 56.
So we're making an assumption that we'd have no interest.
We're not probably going to even be able to hire anybody that has any skills, and we would be spending time training as opposed to having somebody that, you know, could come in and hopefully hit the ground a little more running than.
I think our only concern is we've been able to post it for a year and maybe we could have had some good candidates with the, standard rate.
And I don't know if we posted it and got.
Now we're close enough, we
There
might
are
as well
other
wait probably, but.
counties
Yeah.
That are posting their starting salary at or above what our current position tops out at. So.
It's kind of a chicken and egg thing with me, you know, we've had this happen before where we post and don't get any qualified candidates and then we relook at the grading process and the salary, so, you know, I don't know how you ever know unless you test the water. That's,
That's
but-
from what I've heard from others in the area, that they're having a hard time finding staff that are interested at salaries that they were currently using, which would be in that range of, I think, what is it, 42 to 55 or 44 to 55, somewhere in there. I'd also like to note that when we opted to go to election laptops, when Leslie was auditor, her staff, her office was going to handle all of that. That was not to involve our office. We've been brought in more as consulting at different times. But again, we're, you know, looking at potentially pulling Chrissy away from the office for about a month to get that stuff done.
right.
And we've managed it up to this point with just consulting, and it's worked well, and the new program hopefully will allow that all of us spend less time downloading and getting the laptops ready, but it is a new program, and, you know, we do rely on their expertise, because some laptops just, we need help, so.
Yeah, you know, it all goes to me, you know, I like people that are, you know, no offense, Tybee, but I'm not sure that you're a help desk person or a computer expert, and, you know, if we have them, then I think they ought to be dealing with the issues. Now, if it's something as simple as, you know, you got a wipe process, you know, whatever, because my understanding is that was what you used to have to do was completely wipe the machine and then reload it, and, but that's changing where the software is gonna be more of an upgraded
Yes,
version, and you're not
for
gonna have to do
November.
some of that. But I'm not sure if that's the right process anyway, I don't mind,
And some of that is really the cloudiness the state has provided us for guidance.
yeah,
I don't think that they're saying the same things that they were 3 years ago, which at that time, everything had to be completely wiped to zero, restored, updated before each election.
Right, and
Now
it's,
they're saying that that's not necessarily how that should have been handled. So now that we can do that, once the laptops are set up and so forth, it should be more of a matter of them paying attention to timelines that, you know, you can apply your last Windows update, what is it, 90 days before? So say August, end of August is the last time those laptops will receive a Windows update. After that, they don't really connect to the network other than to download the current version or whatever preset tab is.
and we disable those, any communication outside of the computer, it's not on the internet, it's
Right.
not,
Generally speaking, no, they're not. Only during the setup process.
right,
you know, I think with all the controversy around election integrity in the last 2 or 3 elections, I think we wanna be just highly focused on making sure that we're doing everything we can to make sure there's no questions in our process.
And I think the concern has come up because there will be turnover again in the office. You know, new to learn and to, you know, work with Bill or Chrissy if we have questions. And they've always been attentive to what we need.
So we think, Nancy, that we'll have, for Bill, we'll have by the end of this month, right? We should
Yes,
have our
next
information.
week, hopefully is.
So
the
how long
first
will
week.
it take us from that? What will be the process once we get that? And, I mean, that's kinda hard to tell. You don't know what you're gonna, you don't know what you don't know, right? We don't know what we're gonna learn. In this position's example, you know, when will we know kinda what, you know, when we'll be able to move forward and get going on that?
I would think certainly in early May,
Okay.
before I leave on vacation, we should have what we need in place so that, if there is a grade change, Bill would be able to go ahead and
Good.
get that position
So we've
advertised.
got our posting, job description, all of that pretty much nailed down. We're just waiting on to
Yep.
look at what kind of a salary we'd be willing to offer.
Yep.
Okay.
When we get to the point that we have the third employee, will that be able to help some of those computer issues in the auditor's office? That
Possibly, it just depends on the candidate that we are able to hire, as to how adept they are and how, you know, hit the ground running, or if they're going to have to be, you know, babysat for a number of months. So,
But eventually, that should probably be our goal, right?
Yeah.
I mean, okay,
right,
okay.
Well, some of the, you know, you'll likely find somebody that has basic desktop experience, but
right.
to have some of the specialized software that county government uses,
Yeah.
that will be the problem. So like
Right.
Tyler system probably still falls mainly on you and Chrissy.
Mainly on Tyler because nobody knows how their system works.
Yeah, okay.
So, it's a convoluted mess and,
Okay, that gives me great comfort.
I'd like that too. I've been kind of sitting back and waiting for the salary study to be finished. I'm short an employee. I did have an employee leave for another opportunity. We did go ahead and advertise at the current grade, and I had 2 applications, neither one of which was even
Not something you'd consider.
worth even interviewing. And I mean, we are starting to see, not just hiring, but, you know, I send my guys to code conferences every year in Minnesota, because stuff's changing, technology's changing, and we're spending significant money in training these people, and then we gotta be able to retain them, and that was the issue with a very good employee we just lost, so I'm concerned even if I can bring somebody in, I educate them, I get them caught up, and they're very marketable, and so we're starting to feel some of the issues with retaining good employees, if we can even find one. So we did though attempt to post ours. I was very pessimistic that we were gonna get anybody with the right qualifications, and we didn't, but
Okay. Well, I think, you know, clearly, you know, if you look at the numbers, it's a very tight labor market out there. Everybody's having the problem. See where it winds up. Okay. Any other county employees wish? Okay, and we have, next item is receive comments from public. Any member of the public wish to address the board on item? Seeing no one come forward, it's 9:40, meeting is adjourned.